And hello, good people of the internet. It is I, Tommy Kelly. This is Adventures in Woo Woo, and welcome to an almost frosty morning here in Ireland. I have my coffee though, so I'm all good. Although slurpy on a podcast vlog probably isn't great. Anyway, today we are going to do the monthly divinations for patrons, the 47 one-card divinations, where patrons get to ask a question and I pick a card and say what it means, or what I think it represents. Before that, I just want to make a quick announcement in that if you're going to try and buy the deluxe version of the deck or the limited edition version of the deck, right now GameCrafter have sold out of the actual boxes that they come in, and so they're off sale. And they've told me that they won't be back on sale until the end of January, that it's just like one of these COVID issues of supply. The supply chain has failed in some way, as certain things have. Last year it was widgets and Guinness cans that got me around this time of year, but first world problems, eh? So what I'm going to do is, because the limited edition deck was meant to be on sale until the end of December, off sale on the 1st of January, being that it's gone now, I will put it back on sale for a month when the boxes are back in stock. And that seems the fairest thing I can do. So it'll still be only limited for the same amount of time, just over a longer period of time. So yeah, just the normal version of the deck is still available, and yeah, it is what it is. What can we do? So on to these questions. I'm using the new version of the deck. I really like it, I have to say. I'm enjoying it. I think the card thickness, because I was using an older deck, when it used to be a lot thinner card stock, so the upgraded card thickness is really good. I'm enjoying it. Shuffles well, the gloss, all that. Anyway, let's get to these questions. So, Marco, which servant is calling out to me for the incoming new calendar year? There's a lot of similar questions to this, and Marco, that card is jumping out immediately at you. So it's the Master. Marco, the Master, I'm sure you're aware, is the representation of your kind of most perfected self, or the thing that you're working towards. You know, it kind of has connotations around the artwork around the Christ or ascended masters or this type of thing. But it's seen as you on your best day. You've got past all your bullshit. You've got past all your shadows, your roles, all of the things that you have to work on. The best version of you, and whatever way you want to take that, is that the best version of Marco as the personality, the best version of the spiritual being that currently is deciding it is Marco, or it's something even further than that. But it's kind of like the whole idea of your best self in whatever small s or capital S that you want to do it. So that's what I would say is to work on that. Also coming into my head is there's definitely a divine aspect to it. So work on either your divinity or your small s, capital S self. Okay, David, how can I brighten my December? Okay. So you have the Guru. So the Guru is about practical things, about teaching you practical things, and not about theory per se. It's not about knowing things. It's about actually doing something with your knowing. So this would kind of suggest, to brighten your December, that there's things that you have to do rather than things. So it's not, take it from a magic point of view, just as an example. So it's not about armchair occultism, where you're just kind of sitting there learning about these things, learning about meditation, learning about different kind of states, learning about insights, or learning about sigils. It's doing the sigil, it's doing the meditation, it's doing the thing. So that's what I would suggest. Have a look at the kind of things that you can do practically that would lighten your thing. Even come down to, if you're feeling sad, which a lot of us do around this time of year, maybe get one of the sad lamps, get your vitamin D into you. Maybe think about something like a 5-HTP, if that's appropriate for you. Or, like going for walks or being in touch, or make sure that you're around friends. What practically can you do to lighten it, to lighten your own December? George, I'd like to know which servant best represents my coming year. Okay, George. Okay, so you have the Fixer. So this is interesting. the fixer would suggest that you can have whatever you want, or you can do whatever you want if you're willing to pay the price. And of course, people get this wrong all the time, and I won't harp on about that because I'm sure most people who are watching this already know my level of frustration with that. But so it would suggest that you can have the year you want if you're willing to put the work in. So, you know, let's get in simple terms, or if you're willing to do the things that need to be done. Now, that's not to say stuff like, well, it's not to always suggest things like that you have to work every hour God sends you, you have to, you know, have 17 side hustles and, you know, all of this kind of stuff. But it's just do the things that need to be done in order to get where you want to be. And that includes not burning yourself out, not killing yourself through exhaustion or lack of sleep or anything like that. So it's a lot of them kind of things factor in, doing the thing that you need to do in order to get where you want to be or to have the year you have. Jason, I'd love a general poll on what to pay attention to right now. Okay, one is particularly wanting to come out there, Jason. Okay, so that's the contemplator. I was going to say the contemplator. The contemplator. Paying attention to, so it's kind of, in a sense, it's saying you have to do the opposite of that, in that not particularly contract into paying attention to one thing, but to allow your conscience to expand or relax or let go of things, and allow whatever is to appear, and that by the kind of thing that paying attention to things, it's like counterproductive in this moment, in that by paying attention to things, you're ignoring the thing that wants to talk to you or wants to reveal itself to you. So I would say do the opposite of paying attention and just let go. There might be a bit of noise as there's a guy cutting grass around me, as is what happens when I try to make a video. Sepherion would also like to say much should he pay attention to card pull at the minute. Just let those guys go. So Sepherion, what should you pay attention to at the moment? Okay, so you have the monk. Silence, retreat into yourself, letting go of needless things, letting go of baggage, letting go of getting rid of all the junk, I suppose, keeping things simple. And it's not really like the letting go of the junk, that would be more the kind of thing of the planet, of seeing what's around you, but it's just keeping things simple rather than like a direct kind of cleansing, say. But this idea of retreat seems to be coming to me about it, that it's pulling back from, if you've been particularly social, say, or you feel you've overexerted yourself through work or something, or anything out there, okay, that there's this kind of call to come back in and kind of check in with yourself, grounding in yourself and being in with yourself, and even a kind of call for silence and meditation. So, Rory, what is my wisest next step? Let these guys pass. Morning. So, what is Rory's wisest next step? Okay, so that's the opposer. So that would suggest that your wisest next step is to, to be aware of the things that are kind of external to you, that are opposing you or kind of holding you back, rather than trying working on yourself or trying to work on, shadow work or, personal development. It's actually seeing what are the things out there, who are the people out there, what are the situations, what are the kind of red tape things, what is the life situations that are actually holding me back from what I want, and kind of see if you can work on them or get through them or ignore them or whatever, let them go. But yeah, so to have a kind of a view of what externally out actually in the world is stopping me getting where I want to go, or and I'm trying to work around that, rather than just seeing it as something you have to work on in a kind of personal development kind of a sense. Natasha, how do I get my energy back? Okay. It looks like they're going to be doing some work, so I might have to move. How does Natasha get her energy back? Okay, no, there we go. The sun. So So the sun is all about energy, isn't it? And it's all about the power and about having, it's like prana, vril, chi, kai, all of these things where it's that kind of life force energy. So that could be a kind of a call of, one, get vitamin D into you, get out in the sun. Like, is that possible? Depending on which hemisphere, but I know which hemisphere you're in, and possibly not that possible. But maybe do something like a Tai Chi, maybe do something, an energetic practice like an energy healing, like a Reiki or bioenergy or something like that, but something energetic, something that will give you more energy. Some sort of energetic thing that rather than kind of trying to work it out mentally or emotionally or something like that, that it could be something that you actually need to, because we don't have the, if you can kind of get cut off from source, man, then you can drop in energy. So it's kind of some way to return to source to increase your life force energy would be how you're going to get more energy, rather than trying to think it out, trying to pull yourself up from your bootstraps, or working yourself in kind of some sort of mental, emotional, bull through type of way. Sephira. How do I become even more attuned with the spirit world? Okay, the Explorer. So the Explorer is about exploring your inner kind of world and widening your thoughts or your feelings or your worldview. It's kind of exploring, going into different territory. It's not in a physical sense, because that would be more the case of the adventure, where it's out doing physical things like climbing mountains, going on adventures, or that thing where you're getting out of your boundaries in a physical sense. It's more getting out of your boundaries in a mental sense. And so like reading stuff that you wouldn't normally read before, exposing yourself to ideas and theories that you haven't previously, to try and widen that kind of notion of your worldview or your inner worldview, or what you think, in your case, what you think spirits are or the spirit world is. So if you've solely, as an example, only ever approached spirits as the idea from like a Wiccan point of view, then go look at the Buddhist point of view of what spirits are, or even if or a Christian point of view, or a Jewish point of view, or a Hindu point of view, or a New Age point of view, or explore it from a completely different direction in which you haven't explored it previously, and even a direction that you're not that into, because it's when you force yourself to kind of look at things that you're not that into, that's where you can find sometimes that final little bit that you need in order to get where you want to be, and you'll never get there through the current methods that you're using, because that's not solving the problem. So you need to kind of explore and expand yourself into areas that you haven't before. So that's what I would suggest there. Diana, what is it that I'm not currently seeing from the big picture of my present unfolding life? Okay, here we go. Okay, the Librarian. So Librarian is a gathering of information, or a study, or so. What is it I'm not clearly seeing? That perhaps there's a need to study, or there's a need to spend some time not doing things practically. It's kind of the opposite of the guru, in that it's gaining the knowledge, getting the expertise, not how to do something, but why the thing is done. The theory behind it. It's not about composing the song, it's about learning chord structure, it's about learning scales, it's about learning music theory, rather than the practical application, in which would be writing a song. So I would say there's something around that you shouldn't be currently writing the song, you should be learning more about music theory, whatever way that applies to your life. So say that was also if you're learning to drive, it's not more about going out and doing an awful lot more driving to get to experience. It's sitting down with the rules of the road rule book and learning them. It's something about the theory or the information or the knowledge behind it, rather than the practical thing that you're missing out on. Grayson, what servant would be the most help for me in the coming year? As you can see, I'm not wearing my glasses, so it's strange though. Sometimes with my glasses I can see grand, and then other times I can't. levels of tiredness, I would seem. This is the card that wants to come out for you, Grayson. Okay, the Protector. So, most help to you would be protection. I don't want to kind of suggest that that's a sort of a negative thing ahead, but just, you know, sometimes just protection, a general kind of protection, rather than having something that bad's about to happen to you that you need to protect yourself, but just kind of more looking after yourself, making sure you're safe, making sure that there isn't toxic people around you, making sure that you know, your house is your fortress and you know the place for you to feel most comfortable in. That kind of a general getting a sense of more well-being and safety and security, and that, you know, in that kind of sense of protection. I don't have the sense that you're getting like attacked or anything like that. It's not that you have to worry about something. It's just this kind of general sense of security and feeling at home and being safe and not being surrounded by, I suppose, adverse energy. So the Protector in that kind of sense, rather than a kind of the war is coming sense. EQ. Why have I chosen these particular matters to address during this lunar month? The Master, because it's for your highest good, and it's because it's leading you on the direction that you need to be ultimately. That it's going to, that if you're not understanding why it's coming up, then it's because it's pointing to something that you're either unable to see currently, ignoring, don't want to look at, and that it's kind of, it's come, you know, it's come to a head at this point that it has to be dealt with, or that it's something that you need to deal with in order to progress, that it's kind of, it's restricting your flow, man, or in some way holding you back. And this is its type of thing in order, but it's for your highest good, it's for your biggest learning. It's in order to become greater, you're better, in order to become where you need to be. Cat, what should I be focusing on? The Eye. So, the things are the way they're meant to be, and to stop trying to stop feeling that things need to be different in order for it to be okay. That the things are the way they are, and that's okay, and that I'm probably going to have to move, but that it's, yeah, it's the general kind of feeling that things are okay, that I'll come back to it, I'm going to move, and then we'll come back. Hey sheeps. And we're back. Interesting experience there, in that how you frame things. And Kat, I will get back to the question. And it probably is the card that I picked at the time, very appropriate to what happened. So I'm in a very large park kind of area, it's a golf course, all of this type of thing. And where I was sitting is right in the middle of it, and there's loads around us. And the two guys, the maintenance guys, came up and decided that they would park right beside where I am and start, you know, working away and do leaf blowing. And my mind immediately went to the size of this place, and they come right beside me trying to make a video, me important person. I'm the main character, and you know, and just of all, you know, the entire place where they could do whatever they have to do, I decided to do it beside me. But then I had the kind of thought going, yeah, but they're probably saying the exact same thing about me, going, he can film anywhere around here, and he chooses the place where we have to work. And in fairness to them, they did kind of hover about for a while. I think they were kind of waiting for me to finish, and I didn't. So yeah, interesting. So the Eye, things are the way they're meant to be, on your kind of point of view. Yeah, so Kat, we got the Eye. There's a thing with the Eye which is kind of saying things are the way they're, you know, they are going to plan, even though it doesn't feel like they're going to plan. But there's kind of a thing I want to make sure that doesn't get expressed in that that's not a suggestion that bad things happen to you in order for you to grow. It's not. I don't believe that. I don't think, you know, you're sent challenges in order to overcome them. I think challenges happen naturally because it's the nature of this place, and within those challenges you have an opportunity to grow. And you mightn't always, as we know, sometimes we don't, you know, we ignore these challenges until they come back up again, or we just can't deal with them. But the thing is just suggesting that even in the middle of turmoil, even in the middle of things not being the way that you want them to be, that there is a kind of sense, and to remember that ultimately all of this is okay. And that's more what the eye is for me now. That's kind of the revelation I have got from the eye, whereas probably would have been more at one point, because that's the way I thought that, you know, that you're sent to bad in order to overcome it, and I just, it's not my worldview anymore, and so that's how the eye is represented to me now. So it would be saying, what should I be focusing on, being your question, is seeing the all-rightness in even the not all-rightness, the ultimate kind of sense of all-rightness. So in a sense, focusing on the positive, but not ignoring the negative, not kind of negating it, not pretending it's not there, but just even within the negative. It's like in reality transurfing, there's a kind of a notion where it's, what's the advantage? What's the advantage to this situation, even when it's a shit situation? So Renee, who was one of the YouTubers about reality transurfing, talks about a time when she had to go to the hospital to see her sister. Something bad had happened to her sister, and she was kind of going, well, you know, how can I kind of see the positive? And she's not really seeing the positive, but what is the advantage in this situation? And she could kind of see that, well, at least I'm able to come to the hospital and be with my sister in this time of need. You know, so it's what's the bit of the story is the good bit, you know, that you're thankful for, even in the bad kind of thing. I'm probably not explaining that particularly well, but I hope you understand. Bera, what am I missing regarding my throat, tongue? I'm Irish and I'm from Louth, a particular part of the country that has a problem saying tongue without sounding like a lunatic. So yeah, what are you missing about that? Well, Bera, as I know you have kind of been seeking medical assistance, that's why, you know, you should always do these things rather than relying on a divination. But I know you know that, and I'm saying it for other people who may be watching. What possibly could Bera be mentioning or missing? The fortunate. But there's something good in it. Now, I don't know what it possibly could be. That'll be for you to decide. But the bit you're missing about it is that there's something fortunate in it. That there's something good. That it's, I don't know. I don't want to frame it because I don't want to do it. But it'll be you to work out. So it'll be interesting to see what you think about that. Chiro, what should I be focusing and working on for the start of next year? An awful lot of focus and paying attention to questions. Should probably maybe do a video at some point about that, about why that's such a big question. I know it's the end of the year, it's probably the main thing, but it is interesting. Okay, so what should you be focusing on, Chiro? Health, healing, recuperating. Kind of, if you've spent a long time, say, overextended at work, to relax a bit, to make sure you're sleeping, to get fit and healthy, eat right, and a general kind of healing type situation. And I mean, that's quite what you're focusing on working on for the start of next year. Yeah, so working on your healing. And that could be mental, emotional, spiritual healing as well, not just physical. But yeah, so that's what you have to work on. And a good time of year to start it. Christoph, I've recently worked with the Colonel and the Adventurer to experiment in leading a more fulfilling life, and I know what I should do. What is keeping me blocked from doing it? Interesting. You know what you have to do, but you're not doing it. As it starts to rain. It's only rain. Heard a great quote from Christoph. I'm not ignoring your question. I heard a great quote from Krishnamurti where he's asked what is one of the the best things that you've learned about life, or what is the thing that the advice, or what do you think is the reason why you are who you are? And he said, I don't mind what happens. And so I'm trying to cultivate that, in that I don't mind what happens. It's very interesting because I was watching a documentary recently about handmade films, which was Monty Python and George Harrison set up to produce and film The Life of Brian. And George Harrison pretty much says that in the middle of it, says, I don't mind what happens when the company splits up. Okay, Christoph, I'll reread your question because I've rambled a bit there. Recently worked with the Colonel in Adventure to experiment in leading a more fulfilling life, and I know what I should do, but what's keeping me blocked from doing it? Good question. The eye again. Nothing. Other. It would suggest to me that what's stopping you from doing it is that maybe you shouldn't, not that you shouldn't, because that sounds like I'm giving a judgment on it, that's not what's to be done. That's probably the best way I could, that it's okay that you're not doing it. That don't be forcing yourself on it. It's like, think of it this way, that you could go, I would love to have loads of money, but in order for me to get loads of money, I would need, in my current situation, to work 80 hours a week, not see my family, have no sleep, not really be healthy, whatever. So I know what I have to do in order to get what I want, but I don't want to do it because I don't want to sacrifice that. I don't want to do that in order to get that. I'd rather not have it. And so there could be an element of that going on, that, right, I know what it is to have a more fulfilling life, or what my goal is, but the reason I'm not doing it is because I ultimately don't want to sacrifice what I have to sacrifice in order to get it. It would be like, you want to be a musician and you think that I must go to the big city in order to become the musician or the actress or the actor or whatever it is. I don't want to live in squalor, or I don't want to live with no money. I don't want to have that life. So the kind of want of being a musician, actor, whatever it is overridden by the fact that I don't want to be the person that you would need to be in order to possibly get there. That's kind of the best I can kind of describe it, is that it mightn't be a block for that you have to overcome. It might be a realization that you actually don't want to do, or you don't want to be the person that you would need to be in order to get what you want to be, or you think you want to be. Craig, which servant will I be learning from this month? It's a bit rambly this month, but I'm kind of in a giddy mood today, I suppose, because I don't mind what happens. So sorry for talking over some of your questions, but it may be a bit more interesting for people whose questions aren't being asked, that's answered, I suppose, than me just. Craig, the sun, just double check your question. Which servant will I be learning from this month? The sun. So you'll be learning about energy, empowerment, about being the source of all things, about being a shining light, about what is it actually saying specifically to you though? There's kind of an idea of like a quick burst of energy, or about, I don't know, like almost as if there's something that expels the darkness, that there's like a hand clap or something like that. I don't know, I know that's in my head from doing the podcast yesterday, but that kind of a explosive energy. There's something about explosive energy, but not in a violent way, in a kindness way, in a generous way, it's like that moment of when the sun arrives in the morning after you've had a really bad night of nightmares or worry or stress, or afraid something was going to happen, but then the next day arrives in an explosive way rather than a gradual dawn type way. So there you go, good people of the internet. That's the divinations for this month, with some bonus quotes, probably paraphrased from Krishnamurti and George Harrison, but you get understand the kind of thing, and a nice little story about how, from my perspective, people were picking on me, and from their perspective, I was probably annoying them. So, good people of the internet, until next month when we'll do these again. If you want to be in on it, just join the Patreon, any level. There is a $1 level that's limited, I think, to 75 people, but I think there's a couple of spaces, so even for $1 a month you can get in on that. And there's loads of other stuff that happens over there, not to sell you too much on it. If you want to support me, do. If you don't, I offer all of this stuff for free too. But I do appreciate the generosity of people, and it does help me to continue doing all of these things. But I suspect that even if I was on the street, I might still be doing these things, not in the same way. But yeah, so as I look at this wonderful river beside me that maybe you can hear in the background, I wish you I wish you well. Hope you have a great week, great month. Hope your holidays are going well, and may your best days be ahead. Be well.